Hey everyone, this is Miguel, the Movie Encyclopedia, signing in for a new review. For this episode, I will be reviewing what will probably be the only original non-IP action-adventure movie from a blockbuster studio that's also making good money in the box office this year. Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Comer, and Joe Keery. This non-remake, non-sequel, non-adaptation movie follows Guy, a non-playable character in an online video game who becomes artificially intelligent and unknowingly changes the game he's living in. Sparking a media frenzy, Guy catches the attention of the game's creator, played by Jodie Comer and Joe Keery, who are working to get to the bottom of this mystery. The result is a film that on paper seems too convoluted and ridiculous to be any good. That's definitely what Free Guy looks like at first. But actually, this movie works off of its weirdness and bizarre writing to create a wildly entertaining action comedy with a great cast and the right amount of references, Easter eggs, and cameos to make it a really strong and relevant video game movie. The story is surprisingly complex as it deals with themes about the nature of artificial intelligence and using adapted properties versus creating original content in the media industry. The story also has video game references, Disney references, celebrity cameos, science fiction, and two love stories, so there is a lot to digest in this movie despite what the trailers suggest. The trailers for this movie were very simple and just gave us the idea that this was just a movie about a video game character in a video game world, but it's a lot more than that, and I was really surprised. However, director Sean Levy and writers Zach Penn and Matt Lieberman do a fine job of juggling all this content while giving the fans what they came for. Ryan Reynolds running around as a badass man-child who needs to save the day. A lot of people are calling this movie Ready Player One meets The Truman Show, and that assessment is quite accurate. However, my depiction of this movie is slightly different. I think that Free Guy is more Ready Player One meets Deadpool with just a hint of the real world plot of Tron 1982. I think the most exceptional part of this movie has to be the actors. Ryan Reynolds basically plays the lovable type of character that he is known for, but with an extra dose of family friendly innocence that makes him more accessible to younger viewers. It shouldn't work, but it just does because it's Ryan Reynolds, and he's just an American treasure. That's the best way I can describe it. He's an American goddamn treasure. The supporting cast absolutely surprised me, though. I was expecting Ryan Reynolds to completely steal the show, but honestly, this movie had so many great supporting characters that a lot of them, honestly, were even better than Ryan Reynolds at times. I was expecting them to be really forgettable, one-dimensional characters, but I ended up loving a lot of the ensemble cast. Jodie Comer gives a strong performance as the passionate video game designer turned Free City badass, Millie, aka Molotov Girl. Lil Rel Howery surprised me as Guy's best friend buddy. He's more than just a comedic relief. He has a unique personality and is there for Guy when he needs him the most, which made him one of the most heartwarming characters in the entire movie. Taika Waititi might have found his signature character type as Antoine, hilarious yet douchey villains who are oh so evil yet absolutely lovable. Joe Keery and Utkarsh Ambudkar are both great as Keys and Mouser, especially in the third act when the characters are needed the most. I usually don't talk about the soundtracks of the movies I review, but I really need to talk about this one. Half the soundtrack is a kick-ass jukebox playlist with Mariah Carey's Fantasy as the theme song of this movie. Not only is the song played throughout the film and perfectly captures the tone of this movie, but star Jodie Comer does a fantastic cover of the song in the third act since her character loves classic Mariah Carey. So it was a really nice touch in the third act of the film. However, it was the score by composer Christoph Beck that absolutely surprised me. Apparently, for almost every single heartwarming, sentimental, and romantic scene in the film, Christoph Beck composes a score which is literally a remix and extended version of Beck's score for the Disney Paperman short from 2012. I don't know if anyone remembers, but in 2012, Disney released an animated short that played in front of Wreck-It Ralph. The one about the guy who tries to talk to the girl of his dreams by throwing paper airplanes to get her attention. If you listen to that score, then listen to the scores Millie, Ice Cream, and the second half of I Remember Everything from the Free Guy soundtrack, which plays during the movie, they are literally the exact same scores. I mean, it is completely insane. It is the exact same score, but remixed and extended so that it fills in the scenes for a much larger movie. It really is an amazing score, so I have to give props to Free Guy. Not only does the story reference Disney media, but the soundtrack does too. I am just absolutely proud of Christoph Beck for getting his most underrated, beautiful, and unbelievably heartwarming score into a bigger movie with a much larger audience base. So now it can reach an even bigger audience than before. I don't know if this soundtrack will be eligible at next year's Oscars, but if it is, I really hope Beck gets the Oscar nomination he so rightfully deserves for the Paperman score, because not only is it included in this soundtrack, it's improved exponentially. So, in conclusion, Free Guy is a movie that on paper should not have worked, let alone this well. But thanks to its terrific cast, strong writing, and great direction from Shawn Levy, Free Guy ends up being one of the best surprises in 2021 cinema. I hate to admit it, but as a longtime Shawn Levy fan, I think this might be his best film to date. It's also Ryan Reynolds' best film since Deadpool 2, so that's also a major plus. I'm going to give Free Guy an 8 out of 10 stars. This is truly a great movie. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this episode, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Comment on what you thought of this video, and make sure to share with friends. Make sure to follow Miguel the Movie Encyclopedia on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to get updates on new episodes and geek culture news. Speaking of which, if you want to hear me talk about geek culture, including movies, TV shows, and video games, check out the Movie Encyclopedia podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast episodes. I post episodes monthly talking about the biggest geek culture announcements and reviews of the previous month. Until my next episode, thank you all for watching, and see you then.